Mic test, 1, 2. Hey yo, what's up, babies? Welcome back to another episode of Low High Trips, and this is your host Aaron Low with the recurring guest and at this point potentially even co-host Kasey Low.
What's baby?
I don't know.
Is that something new?
I think that's something that I listen through like B-Boy, the DJs. They're like, hey yo, what's up, babies? This is B-Boy.
B-A-B-Y?
Babies, like singular plural.
Babies. Oh, okay.
Yeah, I know. Why you gotta call me out, man? Just let me be.
That sounds so fuckboy.
Just let me be,
But
man.
you do you.
Just let me be cringe, right? Just let me be cringe.
Okay.
But yes, obviously we've been talking about K-pop quite a bit in the past few weeks, actually months, let's be honest. Because, K-pop. K-pop is honestly, it's not a new concept to me. Like, I know of the idea of K-pop ever since I was in middle school or high school. I'm not too sure. But the whole breakdown of K-pop is very new to me because, like, I realized the more I know about it through you, the more I'm just like, wait, what the hell? Like, why are there so many things that I do not understand or that I didn't know existed beforehand? And I find like there's a lot of similarities to football. So I was like, you know what? Let's just do an episode about K-pop. Might as well just like dive a bit deeper on it. Not dive deeper, but just talk about it. So yes, K-pop. What was your? How do you first find out about K-pop?
So for me, how do I put it? I think I've been following K-pop for a while and I try to keep it low key. So I feel like here and there, people who know me, who listening to the episode, they might be a bit surprised. But I like to refer myself as a closet K-pop fans, but not anymore because now K-pop is quite well accepted. I start probably around 2011 or 12, or actually maybe even a bit earlier.
More than 10 years ago. Wow.
Yeah, definitely 10 years ago at least. So I remember at the time I was watching TV, and you know how like TV channels sometimes they play foreign shows around like 10-11 when it's like after peak hour just to kill time. At that time, I think I was still quite young. I remember like I was watching this show called Infinite Challenge, which was my first exposure to Korean variety show with my dad. So I think we both had no idea like, oh, it was a Korean show. So at that time, like they even had like Cantonese voiceover or something. And then like my dad always had like the preference to have like the original sound. I don't know how to call that, like the OG basically. They were like,
not dubbed then.
Yeah. So we turned it off. Then we realized like, oh, it's actually really funny, like Korean variety show, and it's completely different from at the time what we watched, like Chinese variety show. So it really grew on us. So I stayed up. I think I was quite young at the time. So 11 was basically my version of staying up. Like
Fair.
my dad and I would stay up to watch it, and sometimes it was so funny. It happened before I had like, for example, a mini asthma attack, or I lost my voice because I laughed too much.
Really?
So from there, here and there, every episode, basically the show is called Infinite Challenge. So they challenge themselves. Sometimes they will probably get all the cast, as in the host members, to play like, oh, this episode we're gonna challenge ourselves, we're gonna be K-pop idols. So they do a bit collapse performance here and there, and they invite other K-pop idols, K-pop singer. So that's how from Korean variety show I had my first exposure to Korean pop, I'll say.
Yeah.
At the time, I don't know if I pronounce it right. I think Sun Dambi is the name called Crazy, the song title. And it wasn't even like K-pop, not like K-pop group. That I was like, oh, the song is really nice, blah, blah, blah. Then I started watching the variety show. On top of that, I started at the time YouTube here and there, and like illegal streaming platform. At the time, there was no Netflix.
Yeah.
So it's like you have to like download like BT, like basically illegal. And because like there's no proper channel back then like to play Korean stuff, like you really have to go out of your way to find it. From there, I think I was quite young at the time. Then I got into BIGBANG. BIGBANG at the time, I think like one of the biggest boy groups at the time. And at the time there was Super Junior and definitely Tomboy Sinki. But my choice was BIGBANG.
Your type.
I was really into them basically my entire high school, as like from middle school, high school, I was into them. And then I I kind of cheated in a sense. I got into EXO, which was a big change to people. And then at the time later on when I was a bit older, probably like 19, 20, then I was financially relatively stable, as in like not financially stable, but I started working a bit more, part-time job here and there. I could support myself a bit better in terms of my spending on K-pop. Then I jumped into at the time there was this survival show called Police 101.
Yeah.
They have this limited edition boy band which would only last for a year, 101. So I was very obsessed with them, which was a bit concerning, but that was probably my last stage. Then ever since then they disbanded, then I took a break, and I think my actual life in real life, I like to separate them, my reality and
I was
K-pop.
like, what do you mean your real life? Like, K-pop is not real life?
As in
What is this?
they're actual people too, but like my own personal life, I think I had a bit more responsibilities, like the full-on adulthood. So I kind of distanced myself from K-pop, and now I'm just kind of like following here and there part-time. Like when there's like big news, someone in jail, someone's like that, so I'll pick up here and there.
Yeah,
But
someone's drunk driving, yeah.
on a daily basis, as we all know K-pop. But yeah, I just follow here and there now. I don't actively put money in. So that's my journey as a K-pop fan. Yay.
I think that's a very good summary though. I'm really surprised and borderline impressed as to how you could like squeeze your entire decade or more of K-pop in like a few minutes. And I think one thing's very interesting because you mentioned the quote-unquote cheating on Big Bang for EXO, right? Because to me, it's like, I don't understand the concept of that. It's more like, okay, let's just say I'm listening to, I don't know, Frank Ocean, whatever, right? Frank Ocean. Yeah, so I'm listening to Frank Ocean. And then like, maybe I'm listening to him a lot for 2 years. And then after that, I gradually maybe move to like someone else. I don't know, like Tyler, the Creator or something, let's just say. But to me, I never see them as like any relevance between each other. Like there's no like, oh, I'm taking his side or I'm taking this side. So to me, like, I'm surprised that you mentioned that, or even there's the concept of like, oh, why did you abandon Big Bang for EXO? Like, what does that even mean?
Yeah, I think it's really different. Like when you compare K-pop to other entertainment, like music industry, for example, like especially Western music is completely different. And I think K-pop, they're really heavy on that sense of belongings and community. And for example, I told you before, a lot of the groups they have there, what they call back then, I think maybe not as popular now, like cafe. So it's more like your own fan club. You have to actually pay and register into it, and a lot of time they have intakes. So for example, they have the first intake. If you miss it, they probably won't have another intake for 1 or 2 years. And it really depends on how involved you are in the community. For example, when I was obsessed with Big Bang, I was quite young. So as in I followed closely, but I didn't really pay that much. But EXO, I was kind of at the stage, I think like 17, so I could do part-time work. So I could I go to concert a bit more, I see people a bit more. So if you realize, if you go to the same concert, not same concert, as in like around this area, these few countries, like you realize it's always this probably 10 or 12 people. Like you start recognizing one another. Like that's how I met
the same group of people.
Yeah, some of my lifelong friends, like people who actually follow them around, not just like, obviously because I'm from Hong Kong, so I would see them whenever they come to Hong Kong. I'll watch their concert. For example, they probably do like 3 days. I'll go for 3 days. And sometimes, like let's say 101, I would fly to Malaysia for a concert, and I forgot Taiwan or Thailand at the time. So you start seeing familiar faces, then you start hanging out with them. So people kind of remember you. So one day if you just disappear, it's like, imagine you just join some, let's say, dance club. You've been going there consistently. Some like out of nowhere you just disappear. People are going to start questioning. And I think at the time, people will have that sense of community to a point. It was a bit toxic. It's just like,
sense
for example,
of pride as well, right?
Yeah. And especially, for example, K-pop, I like to think, which I think like everyone thinks the same, like different generation. The first like OG generation was probably SES.
What's SES?
They're super old, like they're basically first gen of K-pop, as like back in, I'll say 1995, 7, like that. So, and then they like to call like girls generation, Wonder Girls, Big Bang, Super Junior, I think second gen. And then for example, EXO would be third gen, like that. So I think Big Bang and EXO, the competition wasn't too much, but it was kind of the overlapping bit when the last active period of Big Bang happened to be around the peak period of EXO. So they went on show together. They probably compete for the same award. So between fans is not good.
Yeah.
Because you have to pick one. Like when it comes to K-pop awards, you have to put money in, you have to vote. And it's not just who's popular, who gets the vote. It depends on how hardworking the fans are. And a lot of time, like, I'm saying on my behalf, as in like as a Chinese fan, we work closely with Korean fans. So sometimes, for example, Twitter or Instagram, people would actually like have organized events. Like for example, every day 2 p.m. we're gonna put in the vote, so the number would go up. So the cutoff time, let's say 3, like that. Yeah. So that's actually organization, everything. And usually especially when it comes to big groups, they have their big organization fan base in, let's say, Korea or China. So they're always big groups to lead people and do things. So yeah, it's actually really technical and stuff. And that's why, if imagine at the time you're Taylor Swift fans and there's a award show, I don't know, Grammy or something, and turns out Grammy, basically the fans that have to vote, like you have to put money in to compete for the big awards. Like you out of nowhere, you pull out last minute, but you know what? I'm starting to like Katy Perry. I'm gonna vote for her. And you know how they, at least that's what I heard, like they have beef one another.
I have no idea, but yeah.
I think so, yeah.
Okay.
That's what I heard. So like they kind of like, they're direct competitors. It's just like you can't like Liverpool.
Yeah.
Because you support Man United. Like it doesn't matter if you go out of nowhere, you start watching Barcelona a bit more, because like they're not like direct competitors. But it's different when, like, I'll describe in a way, I think Big Bang and EXO was probably like Man United and Barcelona. So they're kind of in the same industry, but they don't really compete one another directly.
Yeah, not direct competitors, not direct rivals.
Yeah. But for example, BTS and EXO at the time was basically, to me, the K-pop version of United and it's Man City or Liverpool.
Yeah. So you just pick your side. Yeah.
You're a slut if you go there, and you just kind of keep it low key. You don't let people know. Yeah. And I think that's what I did. So no, I didn't like BTS.
Yeah, so
no.
Closeted BTS supporter.
Yeah.
BTS what? Stan army.
So yeah, that's why, because I'm quite loyal to EXO. So even till now, like I appreciate the music, but I can't be their fans.
I mean, yeah, fair enough. I mean, let's not disclose the amount of money that you spend on EXO and 101, but I think to me it's such an interesting concept that it's like you pick one band, or is it correct to say band? Group? K-pop group?
Yeah.
You pick a group, right? Let's just say EXO. And you have to like support them for life. Basically until like potentially when they disband.
I think ideally, but it's more like compared to United. You know how United is so long from, let's say, your dad's generation.
That's the thing.
Yeah, so
the thing about football is that
they never stop.
They don't stop. Oh shit, sorry. Got
you
a bit
stop.
excited. Yeah.
The fans would leave. But I think K-pop is a bit more different. It's relatively easy for you to last as long, because K-pop groups, they get old eventually, like usually once they hit around 28-30, because Koreans, they have to go to the military.
Yeah.
The group will eventually come down a bit, and like after that they just kind of maintain. They don't really accumulate new fans anymore. So it's just like old fans there, they just play with themselves till they gone.
So what happens when
they're still there, but then they can't be as big? Yeah, you just kind of go down and hopefully you maintain. For example, like, no offense to Super Junior fans, but for example, Super Junior used to be the biggest, like Solid, everyone was singing to Solid, like rubbing their hands and stuff. But now they're still going, like they're going to Europe, like I don't know, Mexico for tours. Yeah, like it's very normal, like world tour.
Disbanded.
No, they're still active. It's just that obviously when it comes to K-pop groups, especially like Super Junior or let's say EXO, because there are too many people, someone's gonna fuck up. Like someone's gonna do drunk driving. Someone's gonna pop some kids out. Like, not offense, but Chen, someone's active idol having 2 kids.
I'm still surprised how having kids as a K-pop idol is a no. Okay, can you elaborate on that? Like, to me, I'm just like, what?
Because I think it's very different. Like, people don't understand enough for like Korea, as in like the entertainment industry. Idol is very different from singer and like, for example, actor. So you can say idol, they do a bit of everything, but at the same time, the main thing there is visual, how nicely packaged, how pretty, how nice their makeup is. So a lot of time, what they're selling, not just the singing or dancing skill, is like the image of someone. So they like to have an image. For example, they like to present themselves very boyfriend material, And people usually put it in a way, if you sing so good, you'll just be a singer. If you dance so good, you'll be a dancer. If you act so good, you'll be an actor. So idol is a little bit mix of everything, but they're not the best at everything. So it's more like a package of concept when it comes to idols. So that's why most of the time, I dare to say 99% of the time, when it comes to K-pop idols, usually with male idols, you would want to present yourself as like a boyfriend image. So like when fans, they spend money on you, not just for a singing skill. They like your personality. They like how you present yourself, like, oh, like, imagine Aaron being my boyfriend based on how he acts. Like, it's a lot of fantasy, and they just project everything on you. So your job is not just, you can't clock in, clock out. It's basically 24/7 how you behave when you're outside of the TV channel, outside of the SBS building, how you act. Like, you smoke on the street, that's ridiculous, because a lot of people watching you, there's kids watching you, you can't smoke. And
so it's like 24/7 role play.
Yeah. That's why it's okay for singer, actor, they hit certain age, they get married, they have kids, but it's not common for idol. And there's a lot of like unwritten rules. For example, you're not supposed to date around your peak, and even you do, like, your popularity gonna crash, and it's not easy. Or let's say ideally idols, they wait till they pass their 30s when their popularity die down a bit, so fans, they're more like stable people. They stay there like long enough to kind of like see you as friends in that sense. So you kind of seek for approval from fans to be like, oh, I start dating this woman, and then be like, oh, we plan to get married, or we plan to have kids now. So you really have those unwritten rules and timeline. That's why, and Koreans, I think just Asian mindset, they absolutely hate the idea pregnancy before marriage. So it's kind of the worst thing you can do as an idol. But unfortunately, EXO, our lovely member Chen, happened to double Q 2 kids back to back. No offense, but he's a really good singer. But EXO image really got affected a lot, and we kind of became a joke among other fans as well.
Because of what he did.
Yes, again, I feel like some of the, what we like to call international fans or Western fans, they like to, but everyone has their freedom. They're just people. They can date. They can see whoever they want. But you gotta remember, at the end of the day, they don't earn much money from international fans, because they don't spend money. All they do is just watch videos on YouTube. So a lot of times, the actual market, the main market, obviously it's nice to have like Western American market, but the main thing is still Asia, like Korean, Japanese, Chinese fans. So yeah, within, I'll say, like, my community in that sense, like Korean, Chinese, Japanese, people not too happy with this at all. And it's kind of like, I don't know how to say, but like, you kind of fail your identity as an idol. So, but he's not fans, but he's not the most popular member in the group anyway. So yeah.
So he really single-handedly pulled down EXO's like reputation.
I think EXO,
because he broke the unspoken rule.
EXO was already, I wouldn't say going down, but like members going into military, so they're no longer active as a group anymore. And then the cherry on top is him getting someone pregnant before marriage, back to back, second kid now. And I think I'll say the fuck up thing is that a lot of people comment it was very bad, like, just not good of him, because technically if you do the timeline together, which, you know, our fans, they're really good at it, he basically made the girlfriend at the time pregnant while he was in military. So a lot of people say it wasn't fair on the woman either, because the entire pregnancy, I think till the kids came out, like, he only discharged from military or something like that.
Damn.
So people saying like, it just, he fell as an idol, he fell as a father, something like that. And here and there, I think, again, no offense, I think iKON Bobby was kind of similar, just like out of nowhere, just like boom, like, not just I'm dating, married as well, kids. So I think it's getting more and more common now, like this sort of things. And at the same time, drunk driving is very common among, no offense, like K-pop idols and actors, singer. And this day, I think it's even crazier. For example, Chris Wu, someone you used to like out of nowhere, they can be a rapist. Now he's in jail. Like, so K-pop is full of surprise sometimes.
It really is. Sounds very entertaining and stimulating as well, with the high influx of like all this crazy controversy.
Yeah.
But I'm actually curious. So basically what happens, let's just say EXO became becomes very inactive in the upcoming like decade, right? So what happens? Like, do they disband or do they just maintain like that being inactive? And you can't change any group. You just have to
Usually,
continue supporting them when they don't do anything.
yeah. I wouldn't say they don't do anything. Like they'll still. It's more like they maintain. They don't disband unless something. I'll say from EXO perspective, as in SM as an agency, they're known for not bad at taking care of like I'll say I don't want to use the word, but like probably like senior K-pop group who already passed their peak. For example, like Super Junior, they still have like really large fan base. Just like the fact they could go on world tour, people still come to see them. They still have really large fan base. It's just that in terms of their like company wouldn't invest as much anymore. And for example, when they release single or album, maybe the MV, they don't put as much money. And when they go on tour, the stage is not as nice compared to the newer group, and the song might not be the best, but they still maintain. They probably do like one album a year on top of that. And the members...
Wait, what? EXO is still doing one album a year?
Each, for example. As in
What
when
the
they're
hell?
back at like all of them. Now it's a bit difficult because like some of them still mentally blah blah in and out. And for example, like Junior now, I believe they have all the members now. So I think likely they would like to release album once a year and use that album like to continue to do world tour. And apart from the group activities, a lot of time members, they can do their own acting. Some of them will pick up acting. Some of them will pick up like, for example, like variety show. And some of them start doing singer, for example, in EXO, or I'll say actually a better example like Girls' Generation. They're legendary, they're iconic. Everyone, I dare to say every Asian kids would know them. And now they've been so long, and yes, some...
Is it Nobody But You?
That's Wonder Girls.
Okay, yes.
I appreciate your attempt, your effort, but that was Wonder Girls. Wonder Girls disband. So Wonder Girls, they're a really interesting group as well. But
Then Girls' Generation?
Yes.
SN21. Something like that.
No,
17.
it was 2021. That one was Girls' Generation. It's SNSD.
SNSD.
Don't mix them together.
Yes,
Okay.
SNSD.
So Girls' Generation is like GGGG. Baby.
Ah, yeah.
Yeah, that one. So Girls' Generation, they were very successful. As a girl group, they make a lot of like record, like the top seller at the time as a girl group. And a lot of time, companies back then, they didn't like to release girl groups as much because just objectively speaking, male, they're not going to spend as much compared to female. Females, they're going to go crazy. Just look at me. I'm not going to spend that much on girl group that I like Red Velvet. I'm not going to spend that much. But women, they're crazy because they really think the idols are like their boyfriends. So it just financially is wise to release more boy groups. So Girls' Generation, I dare to say the biggest at time, and they're very good in a way. Their exposure, and FYI, in Korea, K-pop doesn't mean pop. A lot of Korean public, they actually don't know much about idols. So there's a certain demographic that like support idol K-pop, but it doesn't mean the general public, for example, a 50 years old uncle, they would listen like I don't know, aespa. It doesn't work like that. So they listen to separate thing, like
It's not like the mainstream
ballet
thing in Korea.
and K-hip hop. So it's not as mainstream as it was portrayed. It's still very big, I dare to say. But let's say NewJeans is really big now. Like you can, when you walk around in Korea, you can hear their songs. But let's say some, again, no offense, like NCT, they're big. It's if you follow K-pop, but if you ask a random uncle walking on the street, hey, do you know who's Johnny? No one knows. So it's kind of like that. So at the time, Girls' Generation did a really good job because they really pushed for public exposure. So they went on a lot of like variety shows, for example, Running Man, and back in the time there are other shows as well. I forgot the name, but
I watched a
basically,
few Running Man episodes.
yeah. It was even before Running Man. So at that time, a lot of public, they have really they had a liking for Girls' Generation, not just how they sing, they dance, their personality is very likable. And now they're not disbanded. Some of the members, they sign out the agency, but like let's say once a year, once every 2 years, they'll still try their best to make a comeback. So it's relatively a new thing. And a lot of time when they're not doing group activities, they're good enough for them to solo. For example, Taeyeon is one of the best solo singer at the moment. Like she can release an album just herself. She doesn't she doesn't do like the normal K-pop idol way. For example, she would go on different TV show to promote, to do what we call live performance. They actually dance and sing. But Taeyeon is big enough, so she doesn't do as much. Like she's doing it just to, you know, as a gift to the fans. So it's probably 1-2 live stage, and I dare to say most of her songs probably top 100 on Melon, basically the Korean Spotify. And there are the members, for example, Sohyun, they're really good as in acting wise. A lot of them, you seeing their faces on all the big award shows, and some of them, they're really good in terms of hosting like MC, like different funny variety shows like that. And some of them start like business, selling their own stuff. So that would be how a K-pop group looks like, a healthy one in long term, relatively senior one after their peak, and they still have that group activities there, maybe once in a while, but members can do their solo things.
And also K-pop, like they churn out so much content.
Yeah.
They churn out so much content. Like in terms of producing like YouTube videos and stuff. It's like, what are you, man? You're YouTubers, you're singers, you're dancers, you're PR machines.
Yeah.
Everything.
I think it's relatively a new thing. I think that's why like my generation, how I used to follow, for example, BIGBANG and EXO, we were already happy with the amount of materials that we received. But when our generation look at this generation, like, man, you guys just having the best life, because not just FYI, not just those you mentioned, like YouTube channel is basically the norms now. That's the bare minimum. And we have something called like bubbles, and basically it's some sort of apps that you can pay subscription and can talk to your idols. Obviously it's not one-on-one. A lot of time you send in messages, and there probably 500 messages a day for the idols to read, but sometimes they might pick on some, like they might read some of them. So when they respond, sometimes it look borderline like, oh my god, is he replying to me, something like that. And a lot of time they would post their exclusive content. For example, today I went to this restaurant, ate this, and a picture of their own selfie, which you pay for that, so it's exclusive. So basically in that sense, it's the K-pop OnlyFans. So yeah, and it really depends on how hardworking the idol is. For example, some of them can be logging in using the service every day it's like, imagine you texting your friend like daily basis. Some of them, they probably do it once a month. And obviously a lot of people say it's not ethical because the fans pay for the subscription. And if you don't log in for like 3 months, so they just like wasting the money. Yeah. But at the same time, that's why I think it's becoming harder and harder, like being an idol this day, because you don't just dance, perform, like your personality, the way you talk, and easily you can slip anytime. For example, NewJeans, instead of saying Lunar New Year, then they accidentally said Chinese New Year. So a lot of time it happens so many times because some idols, they don't necessarily have, especially foreign idols, because they don't have much knowledge around the context, or for example Korean history, they said something casual, slip, get fucked, cancel, something like that. So it's very common, and a lot of time I don't know why I'm talking about this, I actually don't remember.
Basically, Danielle was born and bred in Melbourne, right?
Yeah, exactly.
No, sorry, not Melbourne, Australia.
She lived in Korea for a bit as well.
Okay. But anyway, that's not what we are talking about. So you were mentioning something, the whole like, K-pop is not the mainstream in Korea, and the probably older generations are listening to like ballet and like actual singing. Not saying K-pop isn't actual singing, but more like, I don't know, you get what I mean, like singers. So, you did mention something along the lines of like BLACKPINK. I remember you told me that they're not big in Korea. Okay, so
this is controversial. I hope you don't have that many listeners.
You hope it's statistically correct, is it?
Yeah. Because people are gonna argue, but basically my point of view, it's just my own opinion, which unfortunately happened to be true. That BLACKPINK, they're talented. They're really big. No offense. Look at their Instagram followers. They're really big. They're big in Korea as well. But at the same time, it's the tactics, it's the strategies YG, their agency use. It's kind of like, I don't know the name, is like staffing strategy or something, like staffing tactic. So basically they limit the artist's appearance on public TV show. So to create that image like very mysterious, you don't know, like, how they're like. So for example, a lot of time, for example, Lisa, absolutely love her. She's, I personally feel like she's one of the sweetest members, and she's kind of like social butterfly. So she knows a lot of other idols, they hang out a lot, but YG, they're very strict. So for example, other idol groups, other K-pop groups, for example, can be Mini from Idol. They go hang out with Lisa. Lisa happened to be in the video, but because of YG's their policy, Lisa is not allowed to show her face on the video, even is her friend.
That's absolutely insane, because there's just no clocking out from being a K-pop idol. There's no clocking out. There's no personal life. There's no such thing as work-life balance.
So imagine Minnie's hang out with Lisa. She does her live vlog upload on YouTube, and you can see there Lisa was not allowed to show her face other than YG their own channel. So that's what they've been doing, like the copyright or whatever. But at the same time, it will limit Blackpink exposure. That's why Blackpink, I think maybe that's what IG try to achieve, to
YG,
have what YG try to achieve is to have that like kind of like distance, superior, like I saw before this description is like which international student vibe, like you know how like when you as a local kid, there's always like kids who study at international school and they seem so happy, hard to reach, that kind of image. So I think they try to achieve that, but at the same time, because of that, it's really hard for you to be a hardcore fan for Blackpink, because the exposure is limited and everything's quite polished in a way, like everything edited. So it's hard for you to know how the actual personality is. So it's really hard for you to spend money like crazy on them. So
like how you did on EXO and 101.
Because EXO, there's so much exposure. They're on different kind of shows, so like they like you really get to dissect how their personality is, and they give you that borderline illusion that you know them so well. Like there's camera overnight, how they sleep. I can tell you how Sehun sleeps as well. I can tell you how Sehun, when he's okay, that's too much. I'm not gonna go into that.
Whoa,
that sounds so creepy. But anyway, go back to Blackpink. So I think that's kind of what I'll say. The problem with Blackpink, they're so big. Their concert, I dare to say, especially overseas, for example, Melbourne or Europe, I think they just released their encore concert. It's in Paris, and the stadium is like absolutely insane. One of the biggest.
Blackpink?
In Paris. So they're doing really good international wise, but definitely I can see the drop in terms of their new songs, for example Shutdown or Pink Venom in Korea, and I dare to say the ranking is not as good as NewJeans. So that's the thing. I think this kind of strategy works for the first few years, but in long term, people like the views is crazy on YouTube, the Instagram followers crazy, but when it comes to people who are willing to spend that much money on Blackpink, it's not as much compared to, let's say, NewJeans or other groups like Red Velvet, because they never get to showcase their personality as much. And I truly believe that's why all the members, they start doing YouTube channel. Like Jennie will say everyone got their own channel. So because that's their way to maintain that exposure to public, to fans, because they're not allowed to go on as many shows as well. And YG, the agency for the longest time,
to stay relevant, basically.
They have bad relationship with some of the podcasts or like TV channels, so they don't get to be on TV and variety show as much compared to other groups. So like Blackpink, they really have to go out of their way to do YouTube channel for them to edit their own videos and upload. I'm not saying they edit everything, maybe their assistant or something, but just for them to do this. And that's why sometimes back in the time, I think the world tour they're doing, the first stop, I think obviously in Korea, actually took not quite long, but it surprisingly took a bit longer than people thought to get the tickets sold out.
Okay.
Yeah, and some of the time, like
normally I heard like K-pop tickets are just insane.
And
like you fight for it, resell.
You would realize some of the award shows, like Blackpink, there to say they're the biggest one, no one can beat them, but they're not the winner because they don't have hardcore fans there, stay up all night, put in money to vote for them. So they kind of like Blackpink, they're kind of the group that everyone likes, but they don't have as many hardcore fans.
So their reach is very extensive, very like international, but then no one that really, I wouldn't say no one, but like most of the supporters or most of the stands are not like hardcore fans.
Yeah.
Blinks, right? Blinks.
Yes, Blinks, yeah. So I think that's kind of the difference, yeah.
Yeah, FYI, Blackpink is the first K-pop group that I actually listened to since my first K-pop song that I've encountered, which is Lollipop. The lolly, lolly, oh lollipop, or whatever, something like that. And I didn't know that it's an advertisement from what you told me. The only exposure that I had was it was basically a song that b-boys used to dance to. So I thought, oh, okay, so cool. I didn't know that K-pop is like in the b-boy genre. Right? I was just so young. I just had no idea. This is my first exposure. And of course, after that is the Nobody But You by Wonder Girls. Yes, Wonder Girls. Then I basically had close to zero K-pop exposure until BLACKPINK because they became so mainstream. It was played all over radio. It was played in shopping malls, supermarkets, everywhere. And I was just like, oh, so interesting. Then I started like searching them up. And that's when I started listening to BLACKPINK a bit more, the Cuties Love era, you know? And basically from there on, once again, I stopped. And then, of course, from you as well, I did sort of like explored the K-hip-hop, K-R&B genre, which I really, really like. Love it. Thank you. And then comes to NewJeans. And I think that NewJeans is such an interesting concept. But, okay, could you tell a bit about NewJeans concept? Because I feel like you're able to like express it better.
Yeah, I think how successful NewJeans was, to me, it was expected. So FYI, NewJeans is one of the latest, the most popular girl group
They're probably
in
the hottest topic right now in
Korea.
K-pop,
Yeah, and fun fact, I believe they're all underage except Minji is like borderline 18.
Yes, I'm going to talk about that later.
Yeah. So interesting thing. So the label of NewJeans, I think called Adore. So they're under Hype, which is the big label of BTS. So basically now Hype is so big, they start buying, I dare to say, half of the K-pop industry. So everyone somehow become BTS workmates in that sense. So but Adore is basically an independent label underneath Hype. So I think I forgot the name, but basically the producer of NewJeans used to work for SM, so Girls' Generation, Super Junior, EXO company agency. So while she was working for SM, she was actually in charge for some of the albums, and she did an amazing job. Fans were so obsessed, like, oh my god, this concept is crazy. And FYI, it's a very common thing for K-pop groups when it comes to concept. For example, this comeback we want to do like schoolgirl vibe. Next comeback we're gonna do like let's say more, how do I say, like leather jacket, more like rough, and then
there's always a theme.
Yeah, there's always a theme, a concept.
Can you explain what's a comeback?
Comeback.
To me, I have no idea. To me, I was like, comeback like what? Like you go down 1-0, then you come back 2-1.
So in K-pop, it's always a comeback. Basically, you debut as a group, and ever since every album or single you release, as well as you're doing promotion, you come on stage, it's a comeback. And a lot of time, they have, for example, a comeback, and they follow with they follow, for example, once a year you release one album or EP. There's this big title song. You use this song to promote, and usually after a few weeks, then you release the second one. So likely most K-pop groups, like 1 year they release 2 EP due to promotions like that. That's kind of the frequency. So we like to call that comeback. So it literally means comeback. They just came back. So yeah, so basically the producer of NewJeans, she was previously responsible for a lot of big projects in SM. For example, if I have to put it, if people had the context, Red Velvet, for example, I think Dum Dum, and definitely FX personal one, my favorite one would be Four Walls. I believe she was responsible for that. So she was really good, very creative, basically a creative director with all this kind of concept, theme, what they wear, sometimes mysterious. And for example, FX Four Walls, the concept was, I believe, Alice in the Wonder World. So it's kind of a lot of like the MV, everything. Basically, I would say the vibes, the aesthetics, really good. So now everyone, basically the OG K-pop fans, they already got their attention. So I dare say SM was basically half of the K-pop industry, and people like me who are following EXO, who are technically under, I dare to say, fans under SM, we already got the attention there. We're just waiting to see how NewJeans would come out, because the producer had the full autonomy to produce the whole group. Yeah. So from the scratch, from casting everything.
But you already know the potential of this person and this whole project.
Yeah, you just know it has to be so good. And now she can make the whole thing from scratch, from casting. I believe like it took her so long as well. And also the title song, I think she mentioned she took probably 2-3 years to line up what songs they want to release. So it's not just like, okay, one comeback, done. Let's make a new song. What
So
are we going to do?
intentional.
So yeah, she planned everything beforehand. There's consistency. So, and then bam, like NewJeans came out. And I think they're casting really good as well. So it's just like how I said before, when it comes to K-pop groups, there's so many roles. For example, vocal, and there's visual, there's rapper, dancer. So I think it's a really good balance for NewJeans as well. And obviously, everyone's pretty. So I think their theme right now, I'll say Y2K is so refreshing as well. First, they're all underage and they actually present themselves as underage. So I think that's what I don't feel uncomfortable, because a lot of time you see
They're not trying to be sexual.
yeah, a lot of K-pop groups, they either like they're too cute, like borderline, like ugh, like get fucked, like. But some of them, they're either like underage, but they present themselves like showing too much skin, to like the outfit too revealing, and they try to act older than they are. But NewJeans, they just act like their age. Very refreshing. They're not trying to show their boobs or tummy, whatever. Good. It's a really good thing, because I think younger K-pop idols, they're sexualized for the longest time, and good to know that the producer herself, maybe she's a woman too, that's why. And a lot of time, for example, when it comes to outfit, everything, it kind of very nostalgic in a way, because like older generation, they can refer back to like, oh, this is what we saw back in like the early 2000s, like probably before the members, they were even born. So I think immediately they grab the attention from the old K-pop fans. So even let's say I'm not their hardcore fans, I will still follow them. And the new K-pop fans to like, oh, the song's good, like to the new K-pop fans, it's a new style, you get what I mean? So I think the success here is not is expected, I'll say. It's a long-term plan, and I'm glad. I think it came out exactly how I thought.
Damn. What do you think they'll be like moving forward from here? Do you have faith in them to maintain this project, or do you think they might shaky? I think it's hard to predict when it comes to K-pop.
I definitely have faith in them, and I do feel that the production so far quality is really good from the debut, for example, Attention. So they have kind of like the warm up pre-debut single, and then we have the debut Hype Boy, and you can tell they put in so much effort. There's so many version MVs, and like you said as well, it's crazy the amount of content they put on their own YouTube channel, and they're very active on variety shows. And even the second one now, I think like OMG, like really, I don't know if I should call it OMG or oh my god, like it's really good as well. And so far all the songs, at least the qualities are good, which I dare to say is surprising among K-pop. A lot of time like they get tired, so it's like, oh, the group is so big anyway, we just really shit songs. So I think NewJeans, because it's the same producer from scratch, like everything, she's in control, she's responsible. So that's the consistency there. But the only thing that I'm a bit worried right now is their image. For example, like they're all borderline underage. So now Y2K, so refreshing, it fits them really well. Like what they're gonna do when they hit their, let's say, mid-20s.
That's true, the transition from like the underage to like the legal age.
There's
like, what's gonna be the new theme?
A transition, like it wouldn't suit them as much as well, like when they're in their mid-20s, late 20s to do
it'd be
Y2K
cringe
stuff.
if they continue maintaining their personas right now.
Yeah, that's the thing. And I do feel like a lot of people like to say NewJeans, they're very well protected. That's why they don't have much personalities to shine. That's why I think probably why Minji is one of my favorite member. I think she got, no offense, a bit more personality to show in that sense. So I do think like with time goes by, they'll be more confident and they can show like their personalities a bit more. And I feel like it's the same challenge Twice went through when they kind of transition from like that QQ phrase to the version of Twice now, like how they're more like, I want to use the word sexy, but like they're not scared to show.
They're more comfortable
skin.
in your own skin.
Yeah, they have more tight fitting clothes. I'm not gonna say it's like sexual, but they're more like mature. So it's the transition there. And I'll be honest, at least from my point of view, like as an outsider, it hasn't been the smoothest for Twice, because you do see a bit of drop in terms of, for example, the ranking of their songs and the exposure, everything. So it could be the same thing for NewJeans as well in future. Who knows? It's always hard when groups, they have to transition into a new theme, new image.
Yeah, I'm actually very pleasantly surprised by how much I enjoy NewJeans music. Like I remember you were abusing Attention?
Yeah.
Attention, and I don't know what other songs, I'll be honest. I think Attention and Hype Boy.
Hype Boy, yeah.
Yeah, and I
Because
think
they don't have that many songs to begin
yeah, they had
with.
what, 4 songs
Four
in
now,
their
yeah.
in their first debut,
Like big
which is
songs.
August 2022. But yeah, it's actually very surprising how much I've abused their music over the past few months. To the point where I'm feeling a bit conscious, But I do enjoy the music. That's what I'm gonna say. And I went to the extent of like, of course, with your encouragement that I got. Can you explain what this is?
Yeah, so this is their
Merch?
not merch. This is exactly like just a normal album.
Okay, so it's a CD.
Yeah, but I think that's the fun thing about K-pop.
Album, yeah, sorry.
Yeah, so it is an album, but it's very different from the normal album we come across when it comes to Western music. Because, for example, every K-pop group's their album will be different. So some probably rectangle, some probably square, some probably round. So, for example, NewJeans, their first debut album, FYI, the special edition, it was actually a handbag.
Oh.
Yeah, so it got sold out so quick. So like you can
proper
imagine.
handbag?
Yeah, and for example, G-Dragon previously, one of his comeback, like he released USB. So it can be like so many different shapes. So when it comes to K-pop album, I think OMG is quite a standard one. So when you open the packaging, for example, there's different covers. It can be Honey, it can be Danielle, Minji, the group one. So we bought the group one. And I think, do you want to talk about your experience when we're searching for
yeah, it was so
cover?
interesting because would you want me to disclose where we got it from?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. So we were basically in Hong Kong and vibes, Hong Kong. And basically we were like searching for this album, Oh My God / Ditto. Just for the experience of like unboxing it, right? Or
Yes, it's
whatever
really
you call
fun.
it. Yeah, it's just an interesting experience to me. Like I'll be very honest with you, I'm not necessarily into the content of the thing, but the unboxing experience is quite interesting
It's
to
fun,
me.
yeah.
And it's like, oh yeah, collection, why not, eh? And yeah, basically I didn't know that K-pop is such a business where there's this like specific mall in Hong Kong where they were selling like a lot of K-pop stuff, like K-pop merch. Would you say merch?
Yeah, I dare
Okay.
to say, yeah.
K-pop like album CDs and just like things that the groups sell out. So not only that, they have like picture cards and stuff.
Yeah,
and all
photo
those are like
cards.
photo cards, yeah. And all these photo cards obviously they have like individual pricing. And here's the thing, it's like the supply and demand or stock market, right? It's like crazy. With the same album, with different covers, even though they're supposed to be the same price, due to the supply and demand, they up some of the album's price, basically double compared to the lowest one. I'm not gonna
exactly.
review like who has the lowest one, which is a bit sad to see
Yeah.
that. Like I feel like, man, if I'm the member with like the lowest pricing, which is extremely low as compared to the highest one, double, triple, I would just be like, man, what the hell? What's going on? But
Yeah.
I think it's just very interesting to me, this whole concept that K-pop is a massive business, man.
Yeah,
It's a massive industry.
Yeah. And I think FYI, like K-pop albums, they're like just like you mentioned, unboxing is really fun. The fun bit is because when it comes to K-pop album, it has nothing to do with the fucking CD. No one cares about the CD.
Yeah.
Just, it's very common, at least when I was active within the K-pop community, it's very common, like people open the album, they take away the photo card and they just give the album out for free. No one cares about the album. It's the photo card. So
collectibles.
every album, for example, can be group albums, group cover album, and you get to have a photo card in there. It can be, usually it's random. So it can be your favorite member or the member you hate the most. And so, for example, this album we have here, Oh My God, like, is first we got the group one, and then it comes with obviously the CD, and we have the lyrics book or something.
Yeah, something like that.
And this day is so fancy, not just the photo card. And photo cards, you have 6. So you have like, I think 6, right? All the members and one group card, something like that. And you usually have like a mini
Postcard as
photo
well.
book. Yeah,
A
and
lot
the
of postcards,
postcard.
yeah.
And you got stickers as well. So that's what makes unboxing K-pop albums so fun, because it's not the CD anymore. It's the stuff that it comes with. And you actually paying money for all this random stuff. It's not
Yeah.
even a CD. Who the hell plays CD this day? No
Yeah.
one uses it. Like, it's purely just collection purpose. And I think that's why I'll never buy a Western artist album when my exposure to album is this. Like, my standard was like up the ceiling.
Yeah, and also like NewJeans, their self-titled album, which is NewJeans, which is released in August 2022, they had their own sort of like digital album as well.
Yeah,
Which is so strange to me. Like, you basically just buy this and you just scan the QR code.
Yeah.
Be like, bro, just listen on Spotify.
That's the thing. That's why when it comes to album sales, like it's not about the CD. Like it's just for them. It's just a tactic, which to be honest is so bad to the environment. You know, people don't care. People don't play the CD. They just want that photo card in that sense. And a lot of time, now it becomes so toxic. The competition is to, you know, to compete who got the highest sales. For example, Jisoo recently released her solo. I think she broke the record as the first female solo, the quickest to reach 1 million sales. And you sort of know when it comes to shit like this, it's not even it's not a healthy competition. It's just like fan base to show that yes, my Jisoo is the most popular one, so we have to hit that 1 million sales like in the shortest time in that sense. And for example, I described before fucking EXO back then got like 9 members. They have a fucking audacity to release like 18 covers. So FYI, EXO has EXO K and EXO M, so EXO Korean, EXO Mandarin. But now basically that doesn't matter because the structure is fucked. So like they're doing like both members doing, as in both groups doing the same thing. It's still the same group, but they just sing Korean a bit, sing Mandarin a bit. And back in the time, they'll probably release like 9 covers for EXO K, the Korean version, and then 9 covers for Mandarin version. So that's 18 covers. They're
Imagine
mental.
wanting to collect them all.
Yeah, but no one's gonna collect them all.
Be a millionaire.
Because I don't think anyone is that big, you know, have such a big heart, equally loves everyone. For me, I only like Sehun, so I only buy Sehun. And Sehun was popular, so his cover is always more expensive.
That's insane.
Yeah.
It's really mind-blowing to hear like how deep the K-pop industry is.
Yeah.
How many layers there are. I had no idea about all these things. So
you gotta say it's really good in a way. I feel like I'm not gonna say single hand, but it definitely helps Korea, as in like South Korea, the GDP a lot.
Oh really?
I dare to say, yeah, it's
them.
K-pop. Like look at fucking BTS in America.
Jungkook.
Yeah. Yay.
Damn. Okay. I was actually thinking of talking about K-pop and like masculinity as well, because as I was opening the NewJeans album, and also as I was like abusing their songs on like Spotify and YouTube over the past months, right? I was feeling a bit self-conscious. I was like, first of all of them are underage.
Yes.
So I really caught myself. I was like, is it right to be enjoying music by a group of underage girls, 5 of them, you know, who I have no relation to, and they're just like acting QQ and shit, you know, and I'm just like, but at the same time, it's not like I'm obsessing over them, like, oh yeah, you know, this part, honey, let's go. But I don't know, man. I feel like it's so new to me that I'm really questioning it all, like the whole underage K-pop thing.
Yeah, I think very nice of you to actually question. I dare to say most of the men don't question, and which was okay too. It really depends on how you see them. Like it was so different if you imagine if you see NewJeans the way some fans see their their favorite idol, for example, like favorite boyfriend material. Like it'll be weird. Like
That'd
someone
be
like
strange
you,
as
like
shit, bro.
obviously an adult see NewJeans as like someone's like girlfriend material. It'll be so different. And I think it's good how we're at the generation we becoming a bit more conscious now, because for the longest time it's very common for K-pop groups to have like underage members. It's very common. For example, when Sehun first debuted with EXO, he was underage, and a lot of time maybe he had to wear something see-through, show his body a bit. Like I think it was so common and it was quite widely accepted, but at the same time no one really highlight the fact some of this, especially female K-pop idols back in the time, they're underage, so they just did their jobs. And so yeah,
I mean, it's like Justin Bieber, right? Like when he debuted or whatever you want to call it, he was definitely underage.
Yeah.
And you can't be like, oh, I'm listening to him. Oh man, you must be a pedophile for listening to him. Which was a thing back then, by the way, because I was obviously from an all-boys school. And listening to K-pop or Justin Bieber is considered and termed quote-unquote gay. So yeah, if you are a straight male, you do not listen to K-pop or Justin Bieber. At least that's the social expectations from what I've seen. Yeah, but it's interesting. Maybe we'll talk about K-pop and masculinity in the next episode. Who knows?
Yeah.
Because I think this episode is running a bit long now.
Way too long.
Yeah, but it's good. You know, if you are listening to this point, just know that I don't know. I personally do enjoy long episodes because I feel like short episodes, for example, like 20 minutes, 15 minutes, 25 minutes, it doesn't give me the platform to like fully dive deep into a topic and to like fully understand the person I'm talking with. I feel like long duration conversations are something that I genuinely enjoy. But yeah, we'll see how we go, Anything else that you like to add about K-pop? Any thoughts?
I think I have too many, but I don't want to space too much.
Fair enough, maybe we'll keep it for the next one then. I love how you're like soloing this episode. Thank you. I really appreciate it. But yeah, thank you all for listening. Enjoy music responsibly. And yeah, if you haven't listened to NewJeans, check them out. They are a very refreshing concept. According to Kasey, I can't really say they're refreshing because I haven't been jaded by any of the K-pop content considering I haven't been consuming any of the K-pop content for the past decades. But anyway, thank you all for listening. Stay high, stay low, stay safe. This is Aaron and this is
Kasey, yay.
Alright, you enjoy your time, and I should be releasing this on the weekend, so you have a lovely weekend. Take good care of yourself and send my regards to your families. Bye.
Wow.